Well, thank you very much. This is how we do it every morning. It's time for us to dig into the papers and, should time permit, the online portals as well. And let me very quickly say a very good morning to Mamavi Owusu Abaji. Good morning.
Good morning, Ben. Well, good morning to our viewers. If you joined us, of course, you missed the AM news. Hopefully you did not. We're going to be sharing a lot more headlines with you this Monday morning. So welcome to our show. Welcome to the review segment. The papers I have, the Ghanaian Times, the Daily Dispatch, the Finder, and the Business and Financial Times.
Okay, I have the Daily Graphic, the Daily Guide, the Ghanaian Publisher, Today newspaper, as well as the Custodian newspaper. I'll be digging into those. So let's quickly start with the Daily Graphic, and it says, take civic education seriously. That's on page 16. It's the NCCE chairperson urging Ghanaians. Madam Kroma, if you take a quick look there, the story actually says the chairperson of the NCCE for civic, that's the National Commission for Civic Education, Ms. Josephine Nkrumah, has urged Ghanaians to take civic education seriously and make the 1992 Constitution a working document in their everyday life. So if I asked you what you could speak of in the Constitution of Ghana, 1992 Constitution to be specific, I mean, I don't know what your answer would be. Some people have a firm grasp of it, maybe because of work, others don't. But there are certain basic things we all should know when it comes to the Constitution. And that sometimes even impacts things that are done to us. A police officer comes to you, wants to take your phone because you are filming something. There are different things that our Constitution speaks of that we all must be abreast of. We're fixing economy. That's according to Mr. Finance Minister. He says interventions are being rolled out to ease the burden of ordinary Ghanaians. And I'm sure over the weekend you heard of him in reaction to the Fix the Country demonstrations and those $200 million and all of those actions that supposedly are going to generate jobs, among others. I'll be digging into the story as the news review progresses. But AU ECOWAS must deal with Chad's crisis. That's according to a former special representative of the United Nations Secretary General. We know that in recent times, as far as Somalia is concerned, our very own former president, John Dramani Mahama, has been sent there. So different dimensions to the turmoil on the continent. On the international page, Macron calls on U.S. to drop vaccine export bans, and U.S. Navy seizes huge weapons cache in Arabian Sea. It says a huge cache of illicit Russian and Chinese weapons from a stateless vessel sailing in international waters of the northern Arabian Sea actually was seized. You can check out more details on page 9 of the news paper. Let's go to the middle spread of the paper now. Well, maybe an article you could check out by Anis Hafa. Before we go to that, it's on page 28. Overdose of religion, superstition, and deceit. Anis Hafa sharing his thoughts there. Then there's on page 41, it's actually the spread, 24 to 41. Review close of polls time. Some discussants have been urging the Electoral Commission to review the time. Of course, last night we had that interaction with one of the deputy chairpersons of the Electoral Commission, my colleague Emefa Apau, interacting there with Dr. Bosman Asari. So on the back page now, let's collectively fight hooliganism. That's according to a minister, the Minister of Youth and Sports to be specific. And finally, wrapping up with the league table, Midiama second, Great Olympics third, Karela fourth, Hartevok fifth, but the point difference not too much. Hartevok on 34 points in fifth place, Kumasi Asante Kotoko Krobia with 41 points in first place. The least placed team, Inter Allies, with 19 points. That's it for the Daily Graphic newspaper.
And I will come in with the Business and Financial Times newspaper. On the front page, Ghana Card CID databases to be merged, according to the Vice President. And this is to enable employees background checks. And according to details of this, we're expected to re-register our SIM again. I will tell you why. Also, the banks are being roped into using the Ghana Card as the primary identification card for all their customers. Again, The Ghana card has been merged with the SNIT, National Health Insurance and Tax Identification Number of the Ghana Revenue Authority, a move which has seen an increase in the database of these institutions, according to the details shared in the paper. Back on the front page, industry becomes pandemic's biggest casualty in economy as it contracts while agric and services grow. So if you check out details of this story as well, we know that for a very long time, the services sector has been the main driver of the growth for the economy in many years, and also the largest sector. It saw its slowest growth since 2014, recording 1.5% as against 7.6% in 2019. I'll come to agriculture, but let me also take you through, and this is the Ghana Statistical Service publishing these figures, by the way, as captured in the Business and Financial Times newspaper. So the second largest contributor to the economy, industry, recorded a 3.6% contraction in the pandemic year, a sharp nosedive from the 6.4% growth recorded the previous year, and the worst performance ever since the GDP figures were rebased in 2014. Agric, the sector often neglected by both government and the financial sector, pulled a surprise by growing at an impressive rate of 7.4%, the best it has ever seen since the rebasing year. More of that, and then Professor Porte upbeats. It will surmount challenges. His version or his piece added to the stories also in the paper. Now, be cautious in implementing lifestyle audits in AML and CFT fights. According to lecturer, says focus should be on suspicious transactions. And this is the anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism, terrorist financing, and tax evasion fights. That's what the lecturer says we should be cautious whilst implementing the lifestyle audits on these. On the back page of the Business and Financial Times, the one district, one factory concept to create jobs to improve livelihoods of the people in districts is making major strides in the automobile industry. Well, they've got a collaboration going on. Full stories on the back page of the paper. And then nominees shortlisted for Ghana Entrepreneur and Corporate Executive Awards 2021. Details of that in the paper today. That's it for the Business and Financial Times.
Well, let's dig into the Daily Guide newspaper now. And PURC to compensate consumers for Dumso. So if you've been suffering Dumso, well, there might be some relief coming your way. And just to get into some details in that story, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission says it has begun the process of ascertaining the liabilities and possibility of compensation for consumers in recognition of any loss occasioned by the recent erratic power supply, popularly called Dumso. According to the Commission, this is being done in accordance with its regulatory processes and has consequently called on consumers to report any case of damaged equipment to the nearest ECG NETCO office for the appropriate action, failing which such a report may be forwarded to the PURC for redress. I find this very interesting because people have complained of gadgets of different sorts being, compromised and all of that. So if a number of people are coming to you, my 55-inch LED TV has gone bad and all of that, can we really foot the bill? Well, that's what the PURC has been saying, though. This was in a statement released Friday. But in other stories, MPs Double Salary bounces back. That's actually on page 3. You would recall the case of Ayariga. Well, it has emerged that the case involving former ministers and appointees in the erstwhile John Dramani Mahama led NDC government who were caught in the alleged double salary scandal has not been dropped. Daily Guide sources say a docket is being worked on once again following concerns that the privileged in society, particularly politicians, are committing offences with impunity. And Martin Amidu comes into the picture. And of course, we know quite a number of them who, were cited. The list of ministers, when the police commenced investigations, most of the ex-ministers cited the honored the invitation of the police to explain issues to them. Emmanuel Ama Kofi Boa, MP for Lembele, who also doubled as former Minister of Energy and Petroleum, Nilaye Afote Agbo, and among others. So this matter seems to be coming back. I'll wrap up in the Daily Guide before I go to the back page, hopefully. Dad says boy 6 is wizard. And a 6-year-old boy, I'm focusing on this story because of some of these developments and how children are singled out for unfair treatment. A 6-year-old boy has been left to his fate in a village in the eastern region after his father claimed he was a wizard. The father, Benjamin Tete, claims a fetish priest told him that the little boy was a wizard and he inherited it from his late mother. The boy, who cannot speak, was neglected, starved, and dumped in an uncompleted mud structure for months at Achiasa, a village in the Ayensuano district of the eastern region, by his own father. And let's not forget that it's only how many months ago that we had, that instance of an old woman, very old woman, being, brutally beaten. Another incident followed that, I think, sometime last year. And here we are with more of them. These are some of the issues we ought to be taking up. And hopefully, Honorable Adjoa Safo will be looking at some of these instances and reacting to them. On the back page, Otumfuo marks milestone with May 9 remembrance. And he's pictured there with Herbert Mensah, former head of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And then Chelsea spoils City Party as Aguero begs for penalty miss. So that's it with the Daily Guide newspaper.
Let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper next. On the front page, government response to fix the country demands will require $10 billion to fix roads, says Finance Minister. First Lady, Ghanaians mark Mother's Day. Muslim students fast in Bruhaha, GCBC, CCG through weights behind Wesley Girls Senior High School. So that's the Christian Council of Ghana. Reverend Dr. Cyril Fayose, a picture of him with the headline on the front page of the paper. We did not clone mobile phones. National Security Ministry, Paris fixed the country conveners allegation. If you're monitoring news file on Saturday closely, then you would know that this issue came up. There was a statement later on issued even after the Attorney General spoke on news file on Saturday, denying that phones had been cloned during a meeting with conveners of Fix the Country. Let's see in the center spread of the paper. Well, essentially, details of the stories on the front page. On the back page is sports. I will leave that to Muftal to come and do details of sports. So I guess that, no, not quite. Let me go to page 3, Ghanaian Times newspaper. 2 crime-related stories. Not quite, well, I think is one which is a robber, an armed robber believed to be a member of a gang that allegedly specialized in breaking into financial institutions, warehouses, and companies. His name is Musa Adamu, also known as Adams, has been arrested by the Tema Regional Police Command. And then the Foods and Drugs Authority in the Volta region has seized and destroyed unwholesome drugs and some other substandard products worth 10,000 Ghana cedis imported illegally by traders. And then the story about communities affected by tidal waves in Ketu South opting for coastal protection projects. Details of all of that on page 3 in the paper. I guess that will be it for the Ghanaian Times.
Let's take a look at the Ghanaian publisher now. Akufo-Addo is fixing the country. That's according to the CVM. So different viewpoints on this, but it was charged on social media over the weekend. And as Latif Idris, my colleague, reported, some people still, went, I wouldn't want, maybe lurking in the neighborhood, and people expressing their sentiments on social media. Zoom Lion Gold grabs top GIJ award. But this one, everyone is talking about it. $200 million jobs and skills program coming. That's according to the finance minister. Apparently, it's been in the pipeline for a while, and it's only now coming to the fore. But what will be the impact of all of this, and how will those, crying out, fix the country, respond? We'll find out. We dig into that matter this morning, actually. No woman will be left behind. That's according to Sarah Adjoa Safo. That's the gender minister. And very quickly, she says, She has extended warm felicitations to all mothers on the occasion of Mother's Day. And she congratulated all mothers for their resilience, tenacity, hard work, unwavering love and commitment towards the welfare of their families. And she pledged her commitment and that of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection to continue to work and create an enabling environment for all Ghanaian women to ensure that none is left behind in the developmental agenda of the dear nation. Well, that's a whole lot more that we have to do. Just last week, was it Thursday, I was having that interaction with women. It's not just media across the board. Women are lagging behind, and a lot more ought to be done to empower women. The rot at Bost that went unpunished. Check out details of that on page 2 of the paper. But I just wanted to take a brief look at page 2, where government has denied phone cloning allegations by Fix the Country movement. The story says the Ministry of National Security refuted yesterday allegations that it had cloned the phone of one of the conveners of the Fix the Country movement. A statement signed and issued by Information Minister Kojo Fonkroma said the phone cloning allegation was false and baseless. The statement was in reaction to a claim by one Oliver Bakavomao, one of the conveners of the Fix the Country campaign on Saturday, May 8, 2021, that the national security operatives had unlawfully cloned the Android phone. I spoke to Kojo Fonkroma on Saturday for the news at 6 o'clock, and he actually made mention of the fact that if government wanted to engage in any such thing, there were legal processes to be followed, and they could have followed that. Of course, on the other hand, on Newsfile on the same Saturday, earlier in the day, Mr. Baka Vomao had said that, owing to certain circumstances, what had happened with the person, the only person in their team who had carried an Android phone, the bit about who was carrying a phone and whether they were not carrying a phone, some things that had followed from there, and how subsequently calling a certain number now showed monitoring on that specific phone and how the phone had to be flashed. So we'll look at the different dimensions and find out maybe, hopefully, who exactly is telling the truth in this matter. But Mr. Bakavomo joins us this morning for a conversation. Look forward to that one.
Let's do the Finder newspaper real quick. On the front page on COVID-19, rollout for second doses to begin May 19. Ghana records 10,684 newborn jaundice cases in 2020.
That's a big worry. That's
that's it.
That's a big one.
Absolutely. So that's Dr. Isabella Sego Moses, the Deputy Director of the Family Health Division of the Ghana Health Service, making that revelation and saying that Ghana recorded over 10,000 jaundice cases in newborn nationwide in 2020. Now, jaundice is that disease that normally occurs when the color of the skin and eyes of the baby begin to look yellowish within the first, they say, 28 days of birth. There was one quick one also on the vaccines. So, we've taken delivery of some 350,000 doses.
And we must use them as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. So we will begin Wednesday, May 19, administering the second doses of it. So if you received your first dose, you're still well within the 8 to 12 weeks, you're scheduled to take your second dose. So get prepared mentally.
So the third of this month was actually 8 weeks. So I'm slowly getting into my ninth. In fact, this is my 9th week now.
Okay, so you're
because the third, so it's another week. Today is the 10th, so it's 9 weeks since I got mine. Yeah,
we're still well within the relevant period, I guess. And then Ms. Anthony Akoto Ampao, lead counsel of President Akufo-Addo, remember? During the election petition, where he says the EC must review processes leading to 2020 election results collation. Okay. Details of that in the paper. He says, I believe that the EC itself and other stakeholders need a closer review of the actual processes and procedures that they took in arriving at the final collation of results in the 2020 elections, and to see whether there is the need for some reforms. His contribution to a roundtable conversation by the CDD. That's it for the Finder.
All right, so today newspaper, Kofi Amwa causes big row over Ponzi scheme. Who's guilty? That's the question in there. And you can check out details of that in the Today newspaper. They say they stand for truth, and enlightenment. Well, hashtag Fix the Country campaign, Ghana's Arab Spring, pictured there, Albert Kandapad, Minister of National Security. So the story by Atta Kweku Bwedi says there is no gainsaying the fact that Ghana has enjoyed a relative peace since 1992 when the country chose the democratic path as a means of vehicle to run her affairs. It goes on to talk about the latest developments to hit the current administration, which was that social media campaign which started over a week ago with a call on government to fix the country. And it says the campaign has since gathered momentum with many Ghanaians from all walks of life doing what we know. But the question in there, this campaign is somehow similar to what started in Tunisia in 2010. And so there is advice that government should listen to the calls of the people and address their issues before things get out of hand. And we've had a number of prominent personalities in this country go down the same route or thinking same, saying that, look, allow especially the youth to express themselves so there will not be an explosion, so to speak, in quote, because when emotions are pent up, it doesn't bode well. So that's it basically for the Today newspaper.
Let's go through the last newspaper that I have, which is the Daily Dispatch newspaper. On the front page, Minister of Lands disbands unauthorized anti-galamsey task force. Not quite, because according to a statement that was issued, and that's where the story was couched from, it said that it has come to the attention of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources that certain unauthorized tax forces and or security operatives have taken advantage of the ongoing operation halt to harass small-scale miners across the country. The operations of such unauthorized tax forces and or parallel security outfits should cease and be disbanded with immediate effect. It does not translate into being disbanded necessarily. Well, the load shedding full chat has been out for a while. I guess the newspaper is reminding all of us, but I have been going off. So I really don't know what's going to happen today, because effective today, 10th of May, what was published is going to be taking effect to 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. So you can check it out. And then Eid-ul-Fitr prayers cannot be held in large congregations is a reminder. The National Chief Imam is reminding all Muslims that we're still in COVID, the restrictions are still in place, so no large gatherings, like parks and so on. Okay, we have to do myjournline.com then. Okay,
very quickly though, I just wanted to make note of this. Mr. Razak Kwadwo-Poku, it appears he speaks on everything nowadays, practically everything. He is the founder and president of CVM, and he says Akufo-Addo is fixing Ghana better than Mahama. But I've seen him in the papers a lot, some papers a lot nowadays, and he seems to have an opinion, be an expert on quite a number of things. Kudos to him. But the story I'll highlight, Parliament vets deputy ministers on June the 2nd. Ablakwa has been replaced. Let's do myjoyonline.com very quickly.
So angry Ghanaian youth take Fix the Country protest to social media after court injunction. There was a joke yesterday that the police, well, they were black anyway. They decided to go to the Independence Square and do the demo themselves. Government will address issues raised by Fix the Country conveners. That's from the Finance Minister. Ghanaians can testify to how EC excellently executed election 2020. That's Bosman Asari, the speaking to MFA Apau. And then on the Fix the Country, mere speeches won't cut it. People want something substantive. That's protesters responding to the Finance Minister after that presser yesterday. Well, plenty of other stories on myjournline.com. At least Fix the Country got the Finance Minister to update us, didn't they? So, something positive coming out of the Fix the Country, if you like.
And now at least we know about processes that would be followed in case any person's phone has to be tapped, the right processes to be followed. So we all can beware.
The betting is not on us, though, because we make some other people live very comfortably so they can fix the issues in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, it's time now for us to move aside and allow Muftau and his crew to come your way with sports. Interestingly, my Lakers won. It's been a long time, Charlie. Anyway, sports is up next Tuesday.